The ethereal mist of the thermal springs swirled around us, carrying the heavy scent of pine and a suffocating, intoxicating warmth. Finn was right there, so close that I could feel the vibration of every breath he took. He reached for my cheek, a gesture so tender it made my heart feel like it was about to burst from my chest. But as I rose from the swirling water, something dark and oily began to wash away from my skin. The walnut resin and charcoal, my mask, was melting into the stream. Jagged, bone-white patches emerged under the silver moonlight, like pale monsters crawling over my bronze flesh. Finn recoiled, his face contorting into a mask of pure, unadulterated horror. He screamed, "Monster! You're a lie!" That scream tore the night apart, piercing through my chest like a jagged blade before everything dissolved into a terrifying, crushing darkness. I bolted upright, my heart hammering against my ribs until it felt like it would shatter. Still in my hollow tree, still wearing my fraudulent mask. But the phantom pain of that scream was so real, it left me gasping for air. Hi, I'm Elowen. I'm 17 years old. I belong to the Caledon tribe, hidden deep within the mist-shrouded peaks of the northern American highlands. Our tribe worships bronze strength, a belief that flawless, sun-kissed skin is the ultimate blessing from the mountain gods. But me? I was born with a map of dying clouds etched into my body. Vitiligo. I've loved Finn, our tribe's greatest hunter, for as long as I can remember. He once stood beneath the ancient oaks and offered me his heart in a confession so pure it made me weep. But out of a crushing fear that he would see the monster beneath my fabric, I rejected him, coldly, cruelly. Watching him walk away in agony shattered me, and ever since I've avoided him like a plague, a ghost haunting the edges of his life. My daily existence is a grueling ritual. Hours spent every morning meticulously painting walnut resin over every inch of my skin. Every single morning, applying that thick, suffocating walnut resin felt less like a simple camouflage and more like signing a lifelong prison sentence with my own hands. The resin clung to my skin, heavy and demanding, as if it wanted to drain the very breath from my lungs in exchange for the appearance of being normal. As I sat in the darkest corners of the schoolhouse, listening to my peers praise the divine bronze glow of our ancestors, I felt like a ghost haunting my own body. Every compliment they traded was a sharp reminder of the lie hidden beneath my peeling, artificial mask. I often wondered, if they saw the jagged white patches underneath this sticky facade, would their admiration turn into an icy, jagged rejection? On those sweltering summer days, when sweat made the resin soften and itch against my skin, I had to force myself to remain perfectly still, wearing a mask of serene indifference while my soul screamed in agony. I wasn't just hiding from my tribe, I was desperately trying to outrun the very skin the universe had chosen for me. During tribal hunts, I'm always the one trailing behind, terrified that a stray branch might snag my sleeve and rip open my secret for the world to see. The fear of exposure is a constant, gnawing predator, far more terrifying than death itself. I live like a criminal within my own flesh, constantly looking over my shoulder, terrified that a single raindrop or an accidental touch will expose my deformity to this world of flawless bronze. Every smile is a lie, and every shadow is my only friend. The real tragedy struck during the celebration by the lake. Kaylin, the tribe's golden girl with skin like polished mahogany, had always been suspicious of my modesty. She sneered in front of the entire gathering. "Why won't Elowen join us in the water? Or are you hiding snake scales under those heavy rags?" Before I could blink, Kaylin staged a clumsy fall, dumping a jar of slick olive oil directly onto my shoulder. The hot oil reacted with the resin, causing the black pigment to clot and smear into ugly, jagged streaks, exposing the deathly pale patches of my true skin. The crowd went silent for a heartbeat, and then the mockery erupted like a swarm of hornets. "Look at her! She's a crow dipped in lime!" I clutched my shoulder, feeling the humiliation burn deeper than any fire. I turned and sprinted into the heart of the forest, leaving behind the stunned, confused gaze of Finn as his world and mine collided in the worst way possible. Finn found me hiding in a narrow crevice of rock, frantically using sand to scrub at my skin as if I could peel the curse away. I screamed at him as he approached, Look at it! This is what you wanted, right? I'm a cursed thing! I braced myself, expecting him to sprint away just like in my nightmare. But he didn't move. Finn knelt beside me, his rough hunter's hands gently taking mine. There was no disgust in his eyes, only a profound, aching softness. He traced a jagged white patch on my wrist, whispering, "It's not snake scales, Elowen. It looks like the clouds on a summer afternoon. Why would you ever try to hide the beauty of the entire sky?" His words were like cool rain on a wildfire. For the first time in 17 years, someone looked at my defects and saw the heavens. For the first time, I wasn't a monster. I was a masterpiece he was finally allowed to see. The search for the Queen of Light is our tribe's most sacred ritual. The winner becomes the spiritual leader who guides the soul of our people. The trial takes place in the Cave of Illumination, a place of absolute, crushing darkness and freezing whispers that play tricks on your mind, stripping away your sense of direction. Kaylin and the others spiraled into a blind panic, sobbing as they stumbled through the lightless labyrinth because regular torches are useless against the supernatural gloom here. The oppressive, thick darkness wrapped around me like a prophecy of being forgotten forever. While Kaylin and the others collapsed in terror, paralyzed by the void, I found a strange, haunting comfort in the stillness. Wasn't this profound darkness the exact same silence I had carried in my heart for 17 long years? I stood there, my heart hammering against my ribs, fully bracing myself for a divine punishment, waiting for the shadows to tear away my final defenses and expose my defects to the world. I was ready to be cast out, to disappear into the wilderness as a pariah. But then, a single defiant sliver of sunlight, a beautiful misfit in this deep cavern, sought me out. It ignored the perfect bronze skins of my rivals and landed directly on the white patches of my arms. In that heartbeat, the world shifted. What I had once cursed as scars began to glow with a celestial fire, projecting ancient constellations onto the cold stone walls. I realized then that I wasn't a mistake of nature. I was a living masterpiece, simply waiting for the right light to show its true colors. To everyone's disbelief, my pale patches began to glow, reflecting the light like iridescent pearls and illuminating ancient symbols carved into the stone. I realized the shapes on my skin matched the constellations on the walls perfectly. My lifelong insecurity transformed into an explosive confidence. I wasn't cursed. I was a living map of the stars themselves, the chosen lighthouse for my people. Standing before the assembled tribe on the peak of the mountain, I took a ladle of spring water and slowly washed away the very last traces of black resin from my face. I stood there, patchy and vibrant, glowing under the afternoon sun. The High Elder fell to his knees, his voice thick with awe. "The mark of the stars. We have searched for the one with the skin of the heavens for centuries." I was crowned with eagle feathers, officially named the Queen of the Caledon. I turned to Finn, and the pride in his eyes was brighter than the gold around my neck. I took his hand, letting my white patches lace through his bronze fingers. I used to think I was a cosmic error, a glitch in the universe. But now I know, I wasn't born to blend in. I was born to burn as bright as the stars on this earth. And for the first time in my life, I am finally home. I realized then, sometimes, the very flaws we try to hide are actually the compass leading us to our destiny. Never let your differences become your fear. Let them become your power. Thank you for listening to my journey on this channel. If Elowen's story touched your heart, please take a moment to rate us 5 stars and hit that follow button so you don't miss our next adventure. Be proud of your unique stars. Goodbye for now, and see you in the next story.